Good morning, everyone. It's time to go on the record.
I do not want to privatize the T. I do not want to slash services. I do not want to lay off hundreds of T employees.
T reformer Charlie Baker getting some MBTA union and Beacon Hill pushback. What are the odds?
Reforming the MBTA. It's Governor Charlie Baker against the Carmen's Union. Who wins?
And Boston's Mayor Marty Walsh is our guest this morning. What he is doing about this MBTA showdown.
From WCPB Boston, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's Janet Wu, our political reporter. And our guest this morning is Boston's Mayor Marty Walsh. Much to discuss this morning, so we're going to get right to it. Janet, kick us off.
So you're a big symbol of union rights in politics right now. There is a massive fight going on between the Carmen's Union and Governor Baker. He says without concessions, he can't fix the T. Who's right on this one?
I think the best way to do is sit down with both. If the governor could sit down with the Carmen Union, I think he has already, and try and negotiate some of the changes that they want to do with the T. You know, I spent 17 years in the legislature, and I've watched where, you know, governors or legislators will come down with some reforms and without having a conversation. And I've spent now 17 months as mayor, and I've been able to get some reforms through my own negotiating by sitting down and talking to people.
But can he reform the T without being able to privatize some small services?
No, I think he absolutely can. I think one of the biggest things that the governor needs to do, and he's spoken to me about it, is get the costs under control and understand where the money's going and what the budget is. I think that's key to a lot of this whole conversation. The next step will be to find revenue sources for it.
I'm sorry, excuse me. The Senate has taken out the whole concept of that Fiscal Management Control Board. Can he fix the T without that?
I think what can happen is it is a process at the State House, and you have the Senate and the House that work together. They do their own bills, and I think in the House version, the governor got all his reforms in there. The Senate version is a little different. They'll sit down in the conference committee when these bills are done, and they'll work through a process. And I think that I'm assuming at some point there'll be some type of fiscal management structure inside the legislation. I'm assuming that he'll get some type of fiscal structure.
Because you're the mayor of the largest city in the state, and the use of it is very important. Now, how about you negotiating behind the scenes, trying to pull the two sides
Well,
together?
I haven't been asked yet, and I think, you know, I've kind of watched what's going on here, but I think that fixing the MBTA and getting the MBTA back up and on solid footing is something that's beneficial to the city of Boston. And you know, I've kind of sat back. I haven't really gotten involved in the legislative process yet, but I'm willing to at any point.
You are willing to, right?
Yeah,
get involved?
Get involved. But I've had conversations with the governor, and I've actually spoken to the Carmen Union. I've spoken to the Speaker. I've spoken to the Senate President about the importance of the MBTA and what it means to the region of Boston and the greater Boston region as far as transporting people in and out of Boston to work. It's important that this thing gets fixed and gets structured. And I think the first step is what's happening here. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be angst, and there's going to be some concern here. Reform is never easy, but unfortunately in this particular situation, things have to change at the MBTA in order to move forward.
Let's move the conversation to housing. Boston apartment rents are the third highest in the country right now. Right now, the average rent for a one-bedroom is $2,350. Two-bedroom is $2,750. You offered a vision for what you think you'd like to see Boston look like over the next 50 years or so. But can you assure residents that these numbers, these rental numbers, are not going to skyrocket, or that you could even stabilize them?
Well, we've done more than a vision. We announced in October a housing plan to create 53,000 units of new housing. Part of that plan is middle class and low income housing, and really we have to increase the supply. That's the bottom line here. If we don't get more supply of housing on the market, prices are just going to continue to go through the roof, and that's rental. Sale prices for houses are through the roof in every neighborhood. Every neighborhood's a hot neighborhood right now in the city of Boston. So we need to create supplies, and we addressed a little bit of it in our budget this year. We put in $20 million from D&D to jumpstart some of the housing stock. We have some good starts going on right now in the city of Boston. I'm working with the legislature. I filed two bills. One is to exempt 2 years during construction on taxes, so that we can create new construction here in the city and exempt them from taxes in the first 2 years. The only people losing the money there is the city of Boston, which is fine. We're building housing. And the second bill is surplusing state land a little easier. Right now we're surplusing a lot of city-owned land so we can build some density in these neighborhoods. And we have to build supply. I mean, if we don't build supply, we're not going to get this under control.
Do you have any fears that young people who are coming into Boston in droves and want to work here might be pulled away if you don't build enough
Every
housing
day.
quickly.
Every
you know.
day. I mean, it's something that I hear every day. I heard it this morning. Yesterday, actually, I was at a park. The other day, I was at a park, actually. And a woman came up to me. She works at Children's Hospital. She makes $73,000 a year. She doesn't live in Boston. She lives in Quincy. And she was crying because she's about to be homeless. And she makes $73,000 a year.
$73,000.
Her rent is $2,100 a month. She has a couple of kids, and they're going to school. And she wants to move back to Boston. But she came to the park to talk to me about it. These are real people concerns that are happening all across the city and quite honestly across the state. Some people view it as a good thing because prices are going up and people are getting the value of their property, and it is a good thing in some ways, but it's also a bad thing because we have a city that is only people that have the means to be able to live in it. We have to keep these families in our city.
And look at it globally too. So many colleges in this town, so many people come here to go to school. So many people would love living here, would like to stay here, but at $2,700 a month.
Well, that's why the housing plan we put in place. We were targeting keeping people in the city of Boston, keeping families in the city of Boston. What's happened throughout neighborhoods, and people who are watching this morning will understand this. They can stay in the neighborhood if they inherit their family's home. And if they don't inherit their family's home, then they can't stay in the neighborhood. That's not how we should be looking to the future of Boston. And the housing plan is really important for us, and we have a lot of interest in development. And right now, we're going to announce in a couple of weeks what the numbers are. But right now, we have about 12,000 units of housing under construction, I believe, in Boston. And some of them are high end, though. Some of them will put people. I mean, $1,200 $2,100 a month is nothing compared to some of the stuff going on.
Yeah. And speaking of benefits, by the way, Attorney General Maura Healey is giving her employees 6 weeks of paid parental leave. Moms and dads, 6 weeks of paid parental leave. Is that something you'd consider for city workers?
We did it. We actually are working on. We put it together about 2 months ago. That's something that we're working on now, and it's something that the unions, when we start negotiating, will come back and talk to us about paid parental leave. 6 weeks. Same thing. Same program.
Same thing. Same program.
So you're willing to make that happen?
Yeah. No. We have it. It's going on right now in the city. We put it through the council. It's coming to the mayor's office, and the council voted it unanimously. I have it on my desk. We're going to do a signing thing next week.
All right, you ready for the OTR pop quiz?
I think so. We'll see.
And our judge, Rosemary, is ready to give you
answer one, Tom Brady.
But you've already gone there, huh? You've been cheating. You're looking
No,
ahead
I'm
of
not.
these
Swear,
things.
I'm not.
Okay, ready. All right. For today's OTR pop quiz, we're feeling kind of benevolent. We're going to focus on the outdoors. So, outdoors in Boston. Question 1. Fenway Park's Green Monster wasn't born green. That look didn't start until '47. What was on the 37-foot wall before?
What was on it?
What was on the 37-foot wall before?
A net? I mean, how far back? Oh, before the Green Monster?
Before it was a Green Monster.
I have no idea. I will say a scoreboard.
Rosemary, what's your judgment on that? The answer is advertisement. So I can't go from the whole wall had advertising all over it.
Well, it's pretty close.
Yeah, but I was trying to see if I could get scored. But Rosemary's she's a tough judge. Question 2: should the Boston 2024 Summer Olympics happen, the rowing events would be held in the Merrimack River in Lowell. Why was the Charles rejected?
I believe because of the currents. They couldn't use it because of the currents, and also I don't think it's big enough.
Rosemary, and
I don't know what else.
Too many bridges.
Oh yeah, there is some bridges.
Too many expanses. You know.
Yeah. Oh, I knew the bridges. I mean, I just assumed.
Why you just assumed the bridge? We continue with the mayor. Stay with us on the pop quiz.
Also, there was their section.